Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for inviting me back. Now, this story I'm about to tell you today is a true story. Just a short story. It's about a Cessna 206. Cessna 206 is one of the finest workhorses, single-engine, piston-engine workhorses that were ever developed. We had one at World Geoscience that was on a low-level survey, and it did 26,000 hours at a low-level survey. That's at 30 meters above the ground in every hellhole in the world. So it took quite a toll on the aircraft. As you can see, the aircraft had a large door at the back, so you could put just about anything in there. Now, my story today is about a Cessna 206, a camera installation, an RC9 camera, an alternator, and for the ladies that might not know what an alternator is an electrical generating device that's belt-driven on the engine to provide power for the equipment on the aircraft to make it work, and 2 companies. Now, the aircraft concerned had a camera fitted in the back. It was called an RC9. It was quite a big camera, not like these modern cameras you can get now that you can strap to your helmet if you have your helmet. You can get these, but the RC9 camera was a little bit bigger. Oh! It was, oh gosh, could one of you young men come and help me hold this up, please? This RC9 camera, was installed in the back of the aircraft. Now, the aircraft, the Cessna 206, is designed in accordance with A4CE. It's the Type Certificate Data Sheet. It's the pedigree of the airplane. And that comes from America, where it's originally designed, and they say how it's going to be built and manufactured, stressed. Now, the aeroplane, to fit one of these RC9 cameras on board, they had to cut a dirty great hole in the back of the aircraft so they could be installed. Can you imagine fitting a camera this big in the back of an aeroplane? This type certificate data sheet shows exactly how the aeroplane is to be built, and no, you're not allowed to do anything to the aircraft to alter it. Now, along comes the Australians that put this camera in the back. There's the camera installed in the back of the aircraft. And the camera then has to have a lot of electrical power to generate it. So they put a generator on board, which this unit here is the alternator. And the alternator that was installed on the aeroplane in accordance with the type certificate data sheet was a 60 amp alternator, but that wouldn't supply all the power. So they put a 100 amp alternator on it, which is a lot larger. Now that's where the trouble begins. There's the alternator bracket there, that the alternator is mounted on the rear of the engine. Now, the owner's got the aeroplane, he's installed the camera, he's done the engineering to go and strengthen the back of the aeroplane, and they made it as strong as a brick toilet. It was incredibly strong. Then they went out to fly, and they got up to some godforsaken hole, the Halls Creek or something like that, and the alternator broke at the mount there and fell off. They said all sorts of expletives, which I won't repeat here with the ladies. So they thought, what are we going to do? So they fixed it, they got the bracket off, the alternator bracket, and they welded it up and sent it out again, and lo and behold, it broke again. So this happened many, many times, and the owner got quite distraught. So he was getting his aircraft serviced at Bernie's Aviation. Now, some of you might remember Bernie, who rest his soul, he's gone on. He was getting his aircraft serviced at Bernie's, but the owner was so distraught, he thought, I've got to get a second opinion. So he went to Hilton Wilson. Hilton was the engineering manager at West Australian Aviation, and he approached Hilton and said, I want you to give me some advice on why these alternators keep breaking off. So Hilton said, well, I can't do that because Bernie has signed this aircraft out, and I can't go and start working on an aircraft that he's been working on. I've got to, and he said, look, I tell you what, I'll bring the aircraft down and you people can go and service it and you can get the business. And Hilton said, okay, we will service this aircraft and find out what the problem is, and if it doesn't work, we will refund your money. I said, an offer like that you can't refuse. So Hilton got the aircraft, and because inside the Continental engine that powers this aircraft, it has, the crankshaft has lead weights or balance weights that fly around inside the engine to take out the harm, just to dampen out any oscillations in the engine. They're called harmonic balances. Now, the first thing they did was strip the engine, check all the harmonic balances, and they were all A-OK. They went through the whole aircraft, checked everything out, welded up the bracket again, and sent the aircraft out because they knew it was all serviceable, all ready to go. And the alternator bracket broke. So the distraught owner said, you said you were going to fix it. You didn't fix it. So poor old Hilton said, okay. He said, but you promised you'd pay me back. So Hilton and West Australian Aviation gave him all the money back to compensate him for his troubles. So then, this is another Cessna 206 that I used to fly in Ethiopia. So it just tells you where they can go. Now, Hilton and the rest of the people were so distraught about the fact that they couldn't fix it. They went and by this time the owner had taken the aircraft back to Bernie's. So the aircraft was now back with Bernie. But Hilton and his engineers, they were true engineers, they wanted to know what caused this problem. So one day he was sitting down with Graham Swanrell, an aeronautical engineer, and they were having a cup of tea. And he said to Graham, I've got this problem with this aircraft. The alternator brackets keep breaking, and we don't know why. And it keeps grounding the aircraft. Why would it be? And Graham had his cup of tea, swirled the tea leaves around, looked at the bottom of the tea leaves, and he said, it's harmonics, it's simple, it's harmonics. He looked and said, harmonics? And what had actually happened, when they engineered the hole cut in the floor, they made the back of the aeroplane so strong, all the vibration was sent throughout the rest of the aeroplane. So it couldn't dissipate out the back. You know, like soldiers going over a bridge used to have to break step, or otherwise the bridge would break down. So that's what it was. It was harmonics in the aeroplane that were breaking these alternator brackets. So Hilton was distraught, but at least they found out. So that's my brief story on the alternator, the Cessna 206 and the RC9 camera.